Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever felt like life keeps hitting you harder than you can handle? What if the real battle isn't out there, but inside your own mind? And what if mastering your thoughts could be the very thing that transforms your entire destiny? This isn't just another motivational message. It's a wake-up call, a shift in perspective. You train your body to grow stronger, but it's your mind that determines the direction of your life. Until you gain control over it, you'll always be reacting to circumstances rather than creating your own path forward. But here's the truth. Once your mind is forged, once it's trained with discipline and clarity, nothing can truly break you. Not loss, not failure, not even fear. You must make a choice. Train your mind intentionally or be ruled by the very forces that seek to destroy it. In just a few moments, you'll learn how to build a mind that stays unshakable no matter what life throws your way. Start with this. Train your mind like a muscle. Because it is one. The greatest power you possess is the mind you often overlook. Think about it. You fuel your body with food. You rest it when it's tired. You stretch and challenge it to grow. But when was the last time you conditioned your thoughts with the same intensity, as if you were preparing for war? A mind left idle becomes weak, but a mind sharpened daily becomes unstoppable. You must shape your thoughts with purpose, just as a blacksmith molds steel in fire. It all begins with repetition and intention. The world will constantly throw distractions and chaos your way. And if you're not actively strengthening your focus, you'll find yourself bending to every temptation and noise. Romans 12 offers a powerful reminder. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's not a casual suggestion. It's a command with purpose. Training your mind means protecting your mental inputs. It's about choosing what you allow in. What voices you listen to, what goals you obsess over, what beliefs you permit to take root. You sharpen your mental clarity by deciding who you are before the world tells you who to be. Take George Washington Carver as an example. Born into slavery, no wealth, no access, limited opportunity. Yet, he trained his mind with warrior-like determination. Through relentless study, endless curiosity, and an unshakable belief in purpose, he transformed the field of agriculture, served millions, and became an advisor to U.S. presidents. So now, ask yourself, what about you? You have more access to knowledge, tools, and opportunities than Carver ever imagined. Will you use it or make excuses? Because discipline is the gatekeeper to true mental strength. If you desire strength, you must be willing to sacrifice comfort. You want real power? Then you must first learn to obey order. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. It's the quiet foundation upon which true strength is built. Only those who submit to consistent, daily discipline will one day rise to command their own destiny. The world around you will constantly whisper, take it easy, follow pleasure, avoid pressure. But what it fails to tell you is this. Comfort is a silent thief. It sneaks in unnoticed and robs you of your potential, while wrapping you in warm, convincing excuses. Every great man who ever rose to influence did so not because he loved discipline, but because he understood it. He respected its purpose. Discipline isn't loud or glamorous. It's the silent architect of greatness. It's the soul's way of declaring, I will not be ruled by my moods or impulses. You say you want success? Then your calendar should reflect that commitment. What you choose to prioritize each day is a declaration of the person you are becoming. You say you want peace? Then your daily habits must be the guardians of that peace. Because here's a hard truth. There can be no peace for the man who allows chaos into his decisions, into his schedule, or into his thoughts. Proverbs 25 verse 28 gives us a stark warning. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. In ancient times, a city without walls wasn't a city. It was an open target, vulnerable, exposed. And if you don't control your mornings, your emotions, your impulses, then then your fortress is already compromised. The enemy doesn't need to break in when the gates are already wide open. True discipline isn't about choosing what feels good in the moment. It's about choosing what builds you in the long run. It's not about soothing yourself. It's about strengthening yourself. Discipline means doing what matters most, especially when every part of you wants to quit. It's choosing your future over your fleeting feelings. The man who lives by discipline is not weak. He's a force to be reckoned with. When everyone else gives up, he endures. When others get distracted, he stays locked in. And when the storms of life roll in, and they always do, he doesn't run. He rises. Andrew Carnegie didn't stumble into greatness by chance. He built it, deliberately, brick by disciplined brick. His success wasn't shaped by mood swings or impulse decisions. It was forged through structure and routine. He treated time like treasure. He carefully selected the people he allowed around him, just as a general chooses his soldiers. He didn't tolerate laziness, gossip, or chaos, not even at the edges of his life. Because he mastered discipline, he gained control over his entire domain. Discipline wasn't a tool he used sometimes. It became who he was. It turned into his armor, shielding his purpose, and his sword, carving out the life he envisioned. It wasn't about waking up early or ticking boxes on a list. It was about taking full command of his life. It was the act of telling his emotions, "You no longer lead. You now follow." And that journey? It starts today, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. You begin now with just one routine, one non-negotiable habit, one bold act of rebellion against the trap of comfort. Speak to yourself with power. Declare that excuses have no place in your life anymore. Each time you choose discipline over indulgence, you place another brick around your inner foundation. And with every choice, you become a fortress, unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable. Because at its core, discipline is the purest form of self-respect. It's standing up and saying, "I was not created to be ruled by urges. I was built to rise above them." And when you live in that truth long enough, you won't just have strength. You will be strength. You won't just chase after power. You'll embody it. Because in the end, destiny doesn't belong to the comfortable. It belongs to the disciplined. Third, your thoughts shape your reality. But not just any thoughts. The ones that are backed by faith and consistent action. You're not defined by your surroundings. You're defined by what you choose to imagine, over and over again, in spite of them. The world around you may scream limits, but the world within you whispers infinite possibilities. Every great success you've ever heard about, every business empire, every invention, every breakthrough, didn't begin in a factory or a financial institution. It began in the quiet, invisible chambers of the mind. Thoughts are seeds, but no seed grows simply by existing. It must be planted with intention, watered with consistency, and nurtured with patience. Yet most people, they only flirt with their dreams. They entertain ideas briefly, talk about goals, but then fall asleep next to doubt. But that cannot be your story. You must go further. You must commit. You must marry your vision. Say "I do" to the dream and refuse to divorce it, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Because belief that breaks under pressure was never belief at all. It was just a wish dressed up in hope. James 1 verse 8 reminds us, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." If your confidence rises and falls with public opinion or your external circumstances, you'll spend your whole life pacing in front of the gate, never walking through it. True vision demands inner strength. It requires a firm, final decision to believe, even when there's no visible proof. Even when everything around you says, "Give up." Faith isn't a feeling. It's a decision you make day after day. You must train your mind to expect the result before it appears. Rehearse your victory in the silence until it becomes second nature. See it so vividly, so clearly, that reality has no choice but to eventually catch up. But don't stop there, because belief without action, that's just a dream. And action without belief, that's just burnout. You need both, belief that fuels you and action that moves you. But when belief and action unite, when they move in harmony, they become dynamite. They're explosive. They're world-changing. Booker T. Washington was born into slavery, into a life that offered him nothing. And yet, in a world that constantly whispered, "You can't," he quietly answered, "Watch me." While others saw emptiness, he envisioned schools. Where others felt shame, he saw dignity. He dared to imagine a future that didn't yet exist. And then, brick by brick, he built it. His legacy wasn't born of luck. It was the direct result of focused thought, unwavering belief, and disciplined action carried out day after day. So let me ask you, what do you imagine? Are you just daydreaming? Or are you declaring your vision? Are you sitting in quiet hope? Or moving forward with fierce intention? Are your thoughts drifting like passengers? Or marching like soldiers with a mission? Your environment might be loud. It might be messy. It may constantly try to convince you that you're too late, too poor, too unqualified. But here's the truth. None of that defines you. Your future isn't written in the stars. It's written in your thoughts. And those thoughts are standing by, waiting for your command. Decide now. Choose the vision. Lock onto it. Nurture it. Fuel it daily with decisive actions and bold declarations. You must tell your thoughts where to go, and then make your feet follow. Because success isn't a lucky accident. It doesn't just happen. It is summoned by the one who dares to see it first in the mind, before it ever becomes real to the eye. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for a sign. You are the sign. You are the seed. You are the sower. And if you refuse to quit, if you press forward without fainting, then you'll be the harvest. Fourth, your emotions are messengers, not masters. They are powerful, yes, but they were never meant to lead. Emotions are signals, not steering wheels. Until you train your mind to rise above them, you'll always be at the mercy of every internal wave. Emotion is energy. It surges. It shifts. It speaks. But it must never be allowed to dictate your direction. You must take the wheel. You were never meant to be a passenger in your own life. You weren't created to be ruled by passing emotional storms. Anger, fear, anxiety, shame, these are temporary visitors, not lifelong residents. They may knock on your door, but you don't have to hand them the keys. Let them pass through if they must, but never let them unpack. Psalm 42, verse 11 asks, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God." That's not a cry of surrender. It's a call to reclaim control. It's the voice of someone speaking directly to their soul, reminding it where its strength truly lies. You must learn this. Speak to yourself more often than you listen to yourself. Emotions are loud. They shout, but you must learn to whisper back the truth. How do you do that? You pause, you breathe, and you question the story you're telling yourself. Choose the higher narrative. Say it again and again until it becomes your default response, until your mind becomes the gatekeeper, not the prisoner. Because the real battlefield, it's always inside before it ever shows up outside. Every lasting victory is first won in the mind before it can ever be won in the world. Your greatest triumph won't come from defeating others, but from mastering how you respond. Think of Abraham Lincoln. He led a deeply divided nation through its darkest hour. He wasn't immune to sorrow, betrayal, or anger. He felt it all. But he didn't let emotion take the lead. He taught himself to pause, to reflect, to measure the weight of every word before he spoke. He led with wisdom, not raw impulse. That's why his leadership still echoes long after the chaos has passed. History doesn't just remember Lincoln's success, it remembers his vision. And so must you. Your mind must rise above your mood. Your vision must speak louder than your inner voice. Yes, you'll feel deeply because you're human. But what you choose to follow is what shapes who you become. So the next time a wave rises, whether it's frustration, fear, or exhaustion, let it rise. Let it roll through you. But don't let it claim the throne. Don't surrender your soul's command to something that won't last. You are not weak for feeling. You are alive. You are aware. And that awareness, that's true strength. But remember this. Strength without direction becomes sabotage. Feelings without filters lead to regret. Emotions without restraint explode, and a life led by impulse, that a life spinning in circles, never moving forward. Speak order into your chaos. Speak vision into your confusion. Speak peace into your storm. Discipline your emotions the same way a general trains his army. They may resist, they may push back, but with enough consistency, they will obey. Emotions make powerful servants, but they are terrible masters. And you were never created to serve them. They were designed to serve you. So today, make the decision. You're not a puppet of passing feelings. You're the architect of your focus, the one who chooses what stays and what must go. Let emotion inform you, but let conviction guide you. When conviction takes the lead, storms may still come, but you will remain standing. Not because life becomes easier, but because your roots grow deeper. Not because your soul never shakes, but because your mind refuses to surrender. Mental strength always begins with identity. You must know who you are, because no matter how strong your skills or ambition, you will never rise above the limits of your self-belief. Your mind builds ceilings from the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you see yourself as small, unworthy, or average, you'll act accordingly. You'll cling to comfort. You'll shy away from risk. You'll retreat in moments that call for boldness. But if you believe deeply that you are chosen, equipped, and called to make an impact, then you'll rise to meet that belief. Not because the world around you changed, but because the way you define yourself did. Every action flows from identity. Your self-concept is your compass. It silently commands your choices, shaping every step you take. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Not as he wishes, not as he pretends, but as he truly believes in his core. Even the language you use about yourself, especially in silence, either builds the walls that hold you back or opens the gates that lead to your future. Your thoughts are blueprints, and if those blueprints are drawn with limitations, you won't build a future, you'll build a prison. Training your mind starts with one foundational decision, deciding who you are, not based on your past failures, not based on your titles or the labels others have given you, and definitely not based on your past, but on something deeper: truth, possibility, purpose. You're not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become after it. Helen Keller couldn't see, she couldn't hear, but she refused to let that define who she was. Her identity wasn't shaped by what she lacked, but by what she could learn, what she could give, and who she could become. And because she made that choice, the world responded. It didn't close her out, it opened to her. She went on to write books, deliver speeches, and inspire generations. Not because her life was easy, but because her mind was trained to focus on what was possible, not what was missing. And you don't need permission from the world to rise. You don't need applause. You don't need a perfect past. What you need is a new agreement with yourself, an internal decision that declares, "This is who I am now." And then you must repeat that truth until your soul believes it, until your actions prove it, until your environment has no choice but to align with it. You are not your weakness. You are not your wound. You are not the delay in your dreams. You are who you decide to be, and that decision, especially when made repeatedly, is the birthplace of true mental strength. Every time you choose a higher identity, every time you speak purpose over your pain, every time you walk in alignment with truth instead of trauma, you grow stronger. So don't wait for the world to tell you who you are. Tell it. Don't sit in silence waiting for validation. Declare your identity. Because your future doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It depends on unshakable conviction. Anchor your mind in truth until doubt no longer has a voice, until fear is outnumbered, and until insecurity is completely silenced by unwavering certainty. The training begins with belief. What you believe about yourself shapes everything that follows. So speak it, write it, live it, not just once, but every single day, until it becomes part of who you are, until you no longer have to convince yourself, because you weren't made just to survive this life. You were made to shape it, not to hide in the background, but to step forward and shine. And no matter what you've been told, you have permission to rise. You're not small. You are not forgotten. You're not stuck. You are becoming. And the moment you truly believe that, that's when your rise begins. Victory doesn't begin on the stage. It starts in the dark. You win first in private, long before anyone ever sees you win in public. It begins in the quiet places where no one applauds, no one sees, and no one validates you. It's in those silent hours, the unnoticed effort, the repeated, thankless disciplines where destiny quietly begins to take form. Mental strength is not born under spotlights. It is forged in solitude. When the world goes still and you choose to remain in prayer, in study, in motion, that's when your future starts shifting. Quietly, deeply, permanently. Most people don't give up because they lack strength. They give up because they crave applause too early. They want results before the foundation is even finished. But Isaiah 45 verse 3 reminds us, I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places. That means your greatest breakthroughs won't always be public. They're found in hidden corners, in sacred, unseen spaces where no one's watching. You don't need an audience to evolve. What you need is discipline, vision, and the courage to stay steady when no one's clapping. You must learn to feel at home in obscurity, not bitter, not anxious, but calm and rooted. Because even when it looks like nothing's happening, the process is working. Remember, the seed never complains while it's still underground. It simply prepares to grow. Growth always begins in the dark, long before anything ever reaches the light. And so must you. You have to train your mind to stay focused, even when progress feels invisible. Even when there's no applause, no recognition, no visible results. Because that quiet season, that's your proving ground. It's the furnace where character is refined, where resolve is tested, where your calling isn't just heard, it's confirmed. Can you stay committed when no one's clapping? That's where strength is built. Think of Thomas Edison. Before the world ever praised him, he failed. Not once, not twice, but thousands of times. He spent countless hours in a lab, alone. No crowd, no spotlight, no funding. Just belief, just relentless faith. In that unseen place, he didn't chase applause. He chased answers. He didn't beg for recognition. He gave his full devotion to the process. And because he stayed faithful in the dark, the world eventually saw his light. You must do the same. You must learn to embrace the quiet season, to endure it with discipline and trust. Because if you can't carry the weight of obscurity, you won't be able to stand beneath the weight of visibility. Fame without foundation, that's a fall just waiting to happen. But obscurity, when used well, builds roots. And roots make you unshakable. So don't curse the silence. Don't resist it. Use it. Build in it. Pray in it. Train your focus, your habits, your mindset in it. Let that quiet place become your sanctuary. The noise will come soon enough. And when it does, you won't be shaken. You'll be ready. Because here's the truth. The world may one day celebrate your fruit, but God shapes you in the root. That's where the real transformation takes place. Victory is not a single moment. It's a mindset. And that mindset is forged not in public, but in the quiet spaces when no one's watching. And remember, your strength is tested most when no one else is watching. So keep moving. Stay aligned with your purpose. Show up every day, even when there's no applause, no recognition. Because if you can stay faithful in the shadows, you'll be able to shine in the spotlight without burning out. Let the quiet season refine you. Let the long process mature you. Let the hidden place become your holy ground. It's where roots grow deep and where character is shaped away from the noise. Those who persevere in silence carry a strength the world cannot shake. And when the curtain finally rises, what people will see isn't someone who got lucky, but someone who was trained, someone who was proven, someone who didn't quit when no one was watching. Seventh, resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about mastering it. Life will hit you. You will be bruised. Storms don't wait for an invitation. They crash in unannounced, bringing pressure, pain, and disruption. But But true strength? It isn't about avoiding the impact. It's about how quickly you rise after the fall. It's about the speed of your recovery, the calmness of your mind, and your refusal to let pain decide the story that comes next. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the teacher. You must train your mind to stop flinching at its arrival, to stop interpreting every struggle as an attack. Sometimes, pain is actually your promotion wearing a different face. Romans 5 verse 3 reminds us, "We glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance, character, and character, hope." Pain is what starts that process. It builds something inside you that comfort never could. If you want to become mentally strong, you have to redefine your relationship with hardship. Change the question. Don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this building in me?" Don't run from it, lean into it. Let the difficulty shape you. Not into someone bitter, but into someone better. Your pain has something to say. So instead of turning away, lean in and ask it questions. Let your pain reveal your limits, so you can break through them. Let it expose your weakness, so you can replace it with wisdom. That's how transformation begins. Frederick Douglass was born into suffering. He was chained, whipped, sold like property. But he never allowed pain to silence him. Instead, he turned it into fuel. He taught himself to read, in secret, in defiance of a system that tried to keep him mentally enslaved. Though he was physically bound, he refused to let his mind be caged. He rose with purpose. He became a voice no one could silence. His suffering didn't destroy him, it promoted him. Why? Because he didn't waste his pain. He transformed it into power. We don't grow in comfort. We grow because the storm knocked us down, and we chose to rise again. While others stayed down, you rolled over, planted your feet, and stood back up. That is resilience. It's not perfection. It's not being untouchable. It's the relentless return. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's about turning every fall into a step forward. It's rising with something new each time you hit the ground. A deeper insight, a stronger layer of grit, a fire inside that whispers, "You may have knocked me down, but I don't stay down." So let life hit. Let it swing. Let the bruises form, but don't collapse. Don't crumble. Your scars are not shame. They are proof. Evidence that you were forged in adversity. That you survived what was sent to destroy you. And not only did you survive, you learned. You grew. You led. You leveled up. Mental strength doesn't show up when everything is going right. It emerges when everything is falling apart. It's the decision to keep showing up, to keep swinging, to keep believing, even when your heart is exhausted and your hands are empty. That's where true strength is born. So today, embrace the pain. Don't run from it. Don't curse it. Study it. Let it shape you. Let it carve depth into your soul. Because the fire you're walking through now, it will become the very light you lead with tomorrow. And every storm that tried to bury, you will only push your roots deeper into the ground. You will rise, not because life is gentle, but because you are resilient. You get back up not because it's easy, but because something inside refuses to stay down. Eighth, guard your mind like a fortress. Because make no mistake, it's under constant attack. You're not just battling laziness or breaking bad habits. You're at war with messages, subtle, persistent assaults that arrive daily. Every ad that whispers you're not enough. Every distraction that pulls you away from purpose. Every quiet voice of doubt that says, "Why even try?" These aren't just random thoughts. They're like trained soldiers marching to breach the gates of your soul. And if you don't defend your mind with intention, you'll be overtaken before you even realize it. Proverbs 4 verse 23 doesn't offer a suggestion. It issues a command. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That's not poetic fluff, it's survival. Your mind is the control tower of your life. It determines how high you fly and which direction you go. And if the tower is compromised, your entire journey is thrown off course. Thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions create results. And if the thought is poisoned, the outcome will be too. That's why you must be vigilant. Ruthless even. You can't afford to be casual about what you take in. about who you surround yourself with, about the thoughts you allow to replay again and again in your mind. Would you let a thief stroll through your front door and take whatever he wants? Of course not. So why allow fear, bitterness, or anxiety to roam freely inside your head, rent-free? Mental strength begins with awareness. You must become the watchman on the wall of your mind. Ask yourself, who's knocking? What is this message? Is it building me up or tearing me down? Because every unchecked thought is a potential breach. But once you become aware, discipline follows. And discipline, that's what fortifies the gate. That's how you protect your purpose from quiet destruction. Theodore Roosevelt, a man remembered for his courage, intellect, and iron will, was not born a warrior. As a child, he was weak, often sick, and consumed by fear. But his father, a man of vision and strength, challenged him, not just to strengthen his body, but to forge his mind. Roosevelt answered that call. He read with intensity. He trained with purpose. He immersed himself in nature, studied history, war, and policy. And over time, through relentless discipline, he transformed. He went from fragile to formidable. By the time he stepped into politics, he wasn't a boy pretending to be strong. He was strong, a fortress of discipline and conviction. Why? Because he built guardrails around his mind. He chose his inputs with the same care a king uses to protect his castle. You must do the same. Choose books over gossip. Choose silence over constant noise. Choose people who sharpen your spirit, not those who sabotage your focus. Speak life over yourself. Encourage your own soul. Because the greatest enemy is not the one standing outside your walls. It's the one you allow to come in. This world will test you. Not once, not occasionally, but daily. Pressure will rise. Distractions will multiply. And if your mind is left unguarded, you won't fall because you're weak. You'll fall because you are unaware, unprepared, and undisciplined. So draw the line today. Set boundaries. Build the gate. And start with small, consistent habits. A morning of stillness. A book that builds. A conversation with a friend who tells you the truth. A journal entry that clears your internal clutter. These aren't luxuries. They are your armor. Peace isn't found in escape. It's built through protection. So guard your mind, or you risk surrendering your purpose. Guard your thoughts, or your voice will be lost in the noise. Guard your heart, because everything you are flows from it. And when your mind is fortified, no storm can scatter you. No attack can shake you. You will remain anchored, focused, grounded, and ready. You become the watchman, the warrior, the double witness of your own transformation. And in that journey, silence becomes one of your greatest strengths. Learn to say less and think more. In a world that races to speak, where opinions are shouted before they're even shaped, the strongest voice is often the one that waits. Because wisdom isn't measured by volume. It's measured by depth. Most people speak loudly not because they're confident, but because they're unsure. They fill the air with noise, hoping confidence might echo back. But a trained mind doesn't fall into that trap. When your mind is disciplined, your silence becomes a weapon, sharp, controlled, and powerful. You observe, you assess, and you respond. You don't just react. Because while the untrained mind lashes out, the strong mind leans back. Ecclesiastes 5 verse 2 offers a warning. Do not be quick with your mouth. God is in heaven and you are on earth. So let your words be few. This isn't just about speaking less. It's about speaking better. Your mind becomes sharper when it understands that restraint isn't weakness. It's wisdom. So before you speak, pause. Before you debate, listen. Before you lash out, ask yourself, is this building or breaking? Because every word you speak is a tool. It's either a deposit into your future or a withdrawal from it. Words are never neutral. They carry weight. They build bridges or burn them. They either clarify your purpose or cloud your direction. And only a trained, disciplined mind can choose wisely when and how to use them. Abraham Lincoln understood this. He was known for his silence, not because he lacked emotion, but because he mastered it. In moments of intensity, he would write letters fueled by feeling, and then never send them. Why? Because he valued restraint over reaction. Because he knew timing and tone could shape the course of history. He would rehearse his speeches alone, in silence, before ever releasing them into history. And that restraint, it earned him respect. It earned him influence. Not because he spoke more, but because when he did speak, it mattered. His power didn't come from shouting louder than others. It came from the weight of his words, sharpened by silence. His strength was not in how much he said, but in the care he took in when and how he said it. You must train your mind to do the same, to find strength in stillness. Because stillness is not stagnation. It's strategy. It's the steady calm in the middle of chaos that allows vision to lead instead of emotion. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs clarity. And clarity only comes when the soul isn't rushed, when the mind is anchored. Don't aim to be the loudest in the room. Be the one everyone waits for when the noise dies down. Because when the dust settles, the most powerful voice isn't the first, it's the final. It's the one that speaks after the world has run out of opinions. When you speak with clarity and precision, people lean in. They listen. Restraint isn't weakness. It isn't suppression. It's control. It's knowing your words carry value, so you don't toss them out carelessly. You place them with intention like bricks, building something meaningful, something that lasts. Influence doesn't grow from how many words you speak. It grows from how deeply those words land. So today, begin practicing the pause. When you're tempted to speak quickly, pause. When your ego wants to prove something, pause. When emotion rises, pause. Let silence do its work. Let your thoughts catch up to your tongue. Because silence doesn't make you passive. It makes you prepared. The strongest voices aren't always the loudest. They're the ones shaped in stillness, refined through wisdom, and released with clear intent. So speak less, but speak truth. And when you do, your words will move rooms, shift hearts, and echo long after you've left. Because vision, true vision, is what makes you mentally unshakable. Without a clear vision, you drift. You chase trends, fall into traps, and confuse motion with meaning. You become reactive instead of resolute, distracted instead of disciplined. But when your mind is fixed on something greater than your current circumstances, nothing can shake you. Vision isn't just a picture in your head. It's a purpose burning in your soul. It's the reason you wake up with fire. It's the compass you reach for when the fog of uncertainty sets in. Proverbs 29:18 says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." That's not just scripture, it's a warning. Vision is oxygen for your mind. Without it, your thoughts suffocate under fear, boredom, and doubt. But with vision, your mind becomes focused, locked in, unshakable. When you can see the end from the very beginning, you can endure the middle with strength and clarity. You don't panic, you press forward. Because vision reminds you that pain is temporary, but purpose, that lasts forever. You must train your mind to return to that vision every single morning. Not occasionally, not when you feel motivated. Daily, write it down, speak it out loud, pray over it. Paint it so vividly in your imagination that the world eventually has no choice but to bend toward it. Because drifting is natural, but discipline is not. And vision is your anchor. Without it, you'll be tossed around by every wave of emotion, every passing opinion, every storm of doubt. Think of Wilbur Wright. Long before flight became a fact, it was a vision. He saw something no one else dared to imagine. He pictured man soaring through the sky at a time when most people couldn't even believe it was possible. He faced failure after failure, ridicule, and rejection. He crashed. He fell, but he didn't quit. Why? Because the vision held. It carried him through every setback. He didn't just invent an airplane. He created a new dimension of possibility for the world. Because vision isn't about prediction. It's about conviction. So what do you see? Not with your eyes, but with your spirit, with your faith, with your purpose. Vision doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a quiet, steady voice that says, "I was made for more than this." And your job? It's not to figure out every step in advance. It's to hold that vision close, until the path reveals itself. Your job is simple. Lock in on the finish line and keep walking even when everyone else sits down. Vision doesn't require applause. It doesn't need a crowd. What it needs is clarity. When vision lives inside of you, you become unshakable. Because no matter what life throws your way, you already know where you're headed. You don't fold when chaos hits. You focus. You don't lose yourself in comparison. You lead. Vision makes you dangerous, not to people, but to delay, to doubt, and to discouragement. Because in your mind, you're already there. Your body is simply catching up. So write it down. Revisit it daily. What do you see? What are you building? Who are you becoming? Speak that vision over yourself until it forms you, until it strengthens you, until you can stand in the middle of a storm and say, "You're not bigger than where I'm going." Vision isn't optional. It's essential. It's what separates wanderers from warriors, sleepwalkers from leaders, victims from victors. You must protect it, feed it, follow it. And when the world around you starts to tremble, your spirit won't. Because your destination is already locked in. And one day, when people ask you, how did you keep going? How did you stay strong? How did you not quit when everything said you should? You won't say, "I had all the answers." You'll say, "I had a vision, and I trained my mind to follow it." Because consistency will always be greater than intensity. It's not what you do once that shapes your life. It's what you repeat. Most people sprint hard, burn out fast, and wonder why nothing ever changes. They ride the wave of inspiration, take massive action for a moment, and then collapse beneath the weight of inconsistency. But those who are mentally strong live by a different law. They understand something most people overlook. Small actions done consistently are more powerful than big actions done occasionally. Consistency trains your mind to trust you. And every time you show up, especially on the days you don't feel like it, you cast a vote for your future. You prove to yourself that you're dependable. And once your mind trusts you, you don't need motivation. You've built momentum. Momentum grows when action becomes habit, and habit becomes identity. Galatians 6 verse 9 gives us the divine strategy. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That's not just encouragement, it's a blueprint. Because the harvest doesn't come to those who simply start. It comes to those who stay. Not those who wait for perfect timing. Not those who act only when they feel inspired. But those who follow through day after day. To become consistent, start small, but stay loyal. Make one simple promise to yourself every day and keep it. Don't chase feelings. Feelings are fleeting. Chase follow through. Because strength isn't built in a moment of inspiration. It's built in the repetition. Your progress isn't defined by what you do once. It's defined by what you repeat, what you refine, what you refuse to give up on. Think about Harriet Tubman. She didn't free hundreds of people overnight. She didn't wait for praise or perfect conditions. She acted, one journey at a time, one risk at a time, through forests, through fear, through the unknown. What carried her forward wasn't emotion, it was consistency. She had a mission, she had a vision, and she had the discipline to repeat the journey. That's why her legacy still echoes through history. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be faithful. Faithful to your goal. Faithful to your word. Faithful to your path. Do it again, and again, and again. Don't just push until you're tired. Push until discipline becomes who you are. Until it's no longer something you do, but something you are. Because true power doesn't come from a burst of energy. It comes from the build, from the daily decisions, the quiet grind, the choice to rise when no one is watching, the decision to move forward even when it looks like nothing is changing. But something is changing you. Your roots are growing. Your character is forming. Your resilience is compounding. So today, make the small choice. Keep the small promise. Lay the small brick. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Because brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day, you are building a life anchored in purpose. And consistency? It may not look glamorous, but make no mistake, it's glorious. It will take you to places motivation could never reach. It will carry you through deserts that talent alone could never cross. It will transform your identity from a dreamer into a doer. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize you never needed to be extreme. You just needed to be consistent. But remember this, your environment is either fuel or poison. You're stronger than you think, but even the strongest mind can be weakened by the wrong surroundings. Because your environment is never neutral. It speaks to your identity every single day. And over time, its voice can either amplify your purpose or slowly erode it. If you're constantly surrounded by fear, gossip, laziness, and doubt, don't be surprised when your vision starts to shrink. You may still want greatness, but you'll begin to live small. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33 gives us the warning clearly. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. And this isn't just about friendships. It's about atmosphere, about energy, about the conversations you entertain, the habits you allow, the media you consume, and the noise you invite into your mind. You cannot elevate your mindset while remaining in environments that contradict your vision. You can't train for greatness in a space that tolerates mediocrity. It simply doesn't work. If you want to train your mind for something higher, start by auditing your environment. What are you listening to? Who have you given permission to speak into your life? What conversations are you tolerating that quietly shrink your courage? What habits are you justifying that keep you playing small? These aren't minor choices. They are destiny-defining decisions. Your environment must reflect your vision. Fill your space with books that sharpen your thinking. Seek mentors who challenge you to stretch. Create moments of silence that ground you. Make space for prayer that centers you. Establish order that strengthens your focus. Because chaos doesn't just distract, it discourages. Disorder drains discipline. And without discipline, clarity fades and your vision begins to blur. Think of your environment like a garden. You must tend to it, guard it, cultivate it. Because weeds don't need permission to grow. Toxic thoughts, unproductive habits, negative influences, they creep in quietly. And before you know it, the environment that once inspired your dreams is now fueling your excuses. Don't let it get to that point. Your environment is never neutral. It's always shaping you, either lifting you higher or holding you back. It's either reminding you of who you're capable of becoming or reinforcing who you've settled to be. So choose your surroundings with the same intensity and intentionality as you choose your goals. Because your environment will either echo your vision or extinguish it. That doesn't mean you need to run from every challenge or isolate yourself from the world. It means you must be intentional. You don't rise by accident. You rise by design. You rise by shaping your world to reflect the future you're building. By saying no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you. Let your environment become your silent partner in success. Let every book on your shelf speak destiny. Let every voice in your circle speak truth. Let every routine in your space reflect your commitment. Because when your environment aligns with your vision, something powerful happens. Your mind stops fighting for clarity and starts operating with conviction. You stop surviving and start building. So take inventory. Not later now. Clean the room. Delete the distractions. Block the noise. Invite the wisdom. Create a space where greatness can breathe. And when you do, you'll feel it. Your energy returns, your focus sharpens, your vision expands. Not because you changed, but because you finally changed where you are. Because your words shape your world. Every sentence you speak is a blueprint in progress. Your words aren't just descriptions, they're declarations. What you say about your future, your identity, your struggles, it's not just commentary. It's construction. With every syllable, you're laying bricks, designing the frame, setting the tone for your reality. Speak long enough in a single direction, and eventually, your life follows. Proverbs 18 verse 21 tells us plainly, the tongue has the power of life and death. That's not just poetic language. It's a law of influence. Your mouth is a weapon, and with it, you're either blessing your future or slowly cursing it. You're either building with belief or breaking with doubt. Words carry memory. They echo long after they've left your lips. That's why mental strength demands verbal discipline. You can't speak defeat and expect to walk in victory. You can't say, "I'm not good enough," and expect to build confidence. You can't declare limitations and expect expansion. You must speak like someone who already possesses what they're working for. That's what faith does. It doesn't wait for the evidence. It creates it. It speaks it into motion. Think of Franklin D. Roosevelt, paralyzed from the waist down. By every measure, he had a reason to speak from pain. But he didn't. He chose to speak from power, and the world listened. In the heart of a broken nation and during a global crisis, Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke just 11 words. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That single sentence cut through despair like a sword. It didn't just inspire, it lifted an entire generation. Because when words are aligned with vision, they carry weight. They carry power. You don't need to be a president to speak with authority. You don't need a title to speak the truth. What you do need is belief. Believe in what you say, and say only what you believe. Speak words that build. Speak words that heal. Speak words that move your feet forward, especially when your feelings scream for you to stop. Your words are your wand. They summon courage. They silence fear. They remind your mind of where it's going when doubt creeps in. Speak like your future depends on it, because it does. Speak like you are the architect of your life, because you are. So train your tongue. Be precise. Be intentional. Don't let sarcasm plant seeds of self-sabotage. Don't let insecurity hide behind humor. Words aren't harmless. They're blueprints. They're instructions to your subconscious, your surroundings, and your future. Build a new habit. Speak life over your goals. Speak life over your body, over your relationships, over your calling. And when you don't know what to say nothing until you can speak from strength. Because silence, when rooted in self-control, is more powerful than noise rooted in fear. Speak as if it's already done. Speak with authority. Speak with clarity. Speak with conviction. And as your words rise, your world will follow. You're always casting spells with your speech. So make sure they build the life you were born to lead. 14th, decide before the world decides for you. The strongest minds don't wait for opportunities. They define them. They don't just react to life. They shape how life responds to them. Because strength isn't something you find in your circumstances. It's forged in your decisions. Not decisions made in perfect conditions, but in moments of unshakable clarity. You can wait for the world to open a door, or you can decide to build one. Because the starting point of all strength isn't luck, it's choice. Deuteronomy 30 verse 19 declares, "I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life." Choice is not just a privilege, it's your divine responsibility. You're not a victim of chaos. You are a steward of decision. And when you train your mind to choose with intention, everything shifts. Confusion disappears. Hesitation fades. Fear gets quiet. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Because decision is more than action. It's a declaration. It's a line drawn in the sand that says, "I'm not going back." You don't need applause. You need alignment. Your clarity must speak louder than the world's noise. Louder than opinions. Louder than your past. And once you decide, something powerful happens. 90% of distractions vanish. Why? Because you're no longer debating direction. You're moving in it. The world may resist you. They may criticize. They may laugh. But they will remember you. Because the person who knows exactly where they're going can never be ignored. Think about Henry Ford. Everyone told him he was wasting his time. They ridiculed his vision of a horseless carriage. But he had already decided. While others debated, he built. While others mocked, he moved. While the world argued over what was possible, he redefined what was. And history had no choice but to follow him. Because decision always precedes destiny. Your power begins the moment you stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start choosing your direction. Start choosing you. Even a flawed decision is stronger than fear-driven delay. Action clarifies. Waiting weakens. Movement reveals what standing still never will. So stop asking for signs. Be the sign. Declare your direction. Move toward it. Adjust as needed. You don't need the entire map to take the next step. And you certainly don't need everyone's permission to begin. You weren't put on this earth to be chosen by the world. You're here to choose who you will become. Train your mind to lead. Don't outsource your direction. Don't delegate your destiny. Decide. Decide with your thoughts. Decide with your words. Decide with your daily habits. And when doubt inevitably creeps in, as it always will, remind yourself, I already chose. I already committed. I already crossed the line. Because decision is power. It brings clarity to your path. It multiplies your progress. It separates those who merely try from those who truly transform. So don't wait until you feel ready. Readiness doesn't come before the step. It follows the step. It grows after movement. So take the step. Choose your future. And make the world respond to your conviction. Because the storm, it doesn't break you. It builds you. You don't discover your strength in calm weather. You discover it when everything shakes and you're still standing. Strength is never forged in comfort. It's revealed in crisis. And just because you're in the middle of a storm doesn't mean you've gone off course. In fact, it often means you're exactly where you need to be. Because the moment resistance shows up is the moment real growth begins. James 1 verses 2 to 4 reminds us, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. The storm isn't your punishment. It's your gym, your teacher, your refiner. It strips away the illusion. It reveals what you really believe, and it builds the muscle memory of resilience. You must rewire your mindset. Adversity is not rejection. It's elevation. Pressure doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're being prepared. So when the storm hits, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, what is this preparing me for? Because every storm has a purpose. Every trial brings a lesson. And every shake, every tremble in your life holds the potential to strengthen your foundation if you let it. Don't just aim to survive the storm. Study it. Examine it closely. Let it teach you more about who you are, not just on the surface, but deep at the core. Let it expose the cracks, and in doing so, reveal the areas where your growth still waits. Let it guide you towards strength, showing you how to walk through fire and still hold on to your peace. Because storms don't just come to shake things up. They come to shape you. Maybe you're in the middle of one right now. Maybe everything feels uncertain. The winds are howling and nothing seems stable. But hear this clearly. This storm isn't your tomb. It's your training ground. It's where you learn to remain calm while others panic. It's where you plant deeper roots when everything above feels chaotic. It's where you start becoming unshakable. So stay calm. Stay grounded. Speak faith even when your emotions scream fear. Declare strength even when the world expects your collapse. The storm is not here to define you. It's here to refine you. And once it passes, you'll look around and realize what it left behind. Clarity, conviction, and character. You'll emerge not only stronger, but wiser, sharper, and more deeply anchored than ever before. Because the person who stands tall in the middle of the storm is the one who cannot be moved. He doesn't just endure the winds. He learns how to move with them, to bend without breaking, to be still without giving up. And when the skies finally clear and the winds settle, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't just survive the storm, you became it. Fierce, focused, formidable. A living example that no storm was ever greater than the strength within you. And from that truth, something deeper grows. A mindset that thinks long-term, but acts with discipline every single day. The mentally weak chase after quick comforts, the next distraction, the next shortcut, the next cheap hit of dopamine. But the mentally strong? They build, not for the moment, but for the decades to come. They understand that real success isn't measured by what happens in the next day. It's measured by what stands strong a decade from now. If you want to live a life that outlasts your name, that echoes after you're gone, then you must master a powerful paradox. Move with urgency, but think with patience. Every mentally strong person holds two clocks, one ticking for today and one set to forever. They act with a fierce focus on the now, knowing that even the smallest step carries weight. But their mind is anchored in the long game, building with the mindset of someone creating something that will endure. Ecclesiastes reminds us that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. True wisdom lies in knowing which is which, what deserves immediate attention, and what demands long-term investment. To train your mind for greatness, you must connect short-term effort with long-term vision. That means every decision you make, what you eat, what you read, how you respond, how you carry yourself, is not just a one-time moment. It's a message to your future. It's a vote cast for the kind of life you're building and the kind of person you're becoming. So don't just ask yourself, does this help me today? Ask instead, will this matter 10 years from now? Will this habit, this choice, this mindset compound in my favor over time? What about you? Are you building something that will speak even when you're silent? Are your daily habits contributing to a lasting legacy or just a temporary comfort? Are you making choices your future self will celebrate or regret? The answer lies in your hands, always has. Because once you adopt a legacy mindset, everything changes. Your patience deepens. You stop getting agitated when success doesn't come overnight because you know you're not running a sprint, you're training for a marathon. You stop comparing your pace to others because you're not chasing popularity, you're following purpose. And that clarity, it gives you strength. You begin building with conviction, not out of desperation. You stop craving quick validation because you're driven by vision, not applause. Once your mind is trained to focus on eternity, the temporary no longer holds the same weight. Distractions lose their grip. You stop giving up just because something gets tough. You stop chasing applause and start chasing true impact. You become a builder, not of fleeting moments, but of lasting movements. Not of comfort, but of consequence. And here's the powerful truth. When you build with eternity in mind, you end up winning today, too. Every action becomes more meaningful. Every decision carries more weight. Time no longer feels like something to kill. It feels sacred, something to honor. Energy is no longer scattered. It's preserved, protected, and pointed toward purpose. So ask yourself today, are you just going through the motions? Or are you intentionally constructing something greater than yourself? Are you simply surviving? Or are you investing in a future you may not fully see, but others will one day live inside? That is the calling of the mentally strong. To move with urgency, but think with legacy. To hustle in the now, but to harvest over a lifetime. Because you weren't born just to succeed temporarily. You were born to leave something behind that lasts. And now comes one of the greatest obstacles to that kind of life, fear. Fear is a liar. It shows up uninvited and acts like it belongs. It visits everyone. It knocks on every door, whispers into every plan, and lurks in the background of every dream. But fear only stays if you let it. It has no authority unless you give it permission. It thrives in secrecy. It multiplies in hesitation. But once you face it, name it, write it down, speak it out loud, walk directly into its territory, it starts to crumble. Because fear feeds on avoidance, but it dies in action. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 tells us clearly, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That isn't just encouragement. It's a declaration of who you are. You are not made to live beneath fear. You are created to rise far above it. Fear is not your residence. Boldness is. Peace is. Power is. And that's why your mind must be trained daily to return to its rightful home. Fear will try to disguise itself. It will dress up as caution. It will speak in the voice of wisdom. But don't be fooled. Fear often disguises itself as protection. It puts on a mask of caution and whispers, "I'm just looking out for you." But more often than not, fear is nothing but smoke without fire. And you don't run from smoke, you blow it away. You train your mind to handle fear by dragging it into the light. You expose it, name it, speak directly to it. Ask, is this even real? Is this the full truth? What proof do I actually have that this fear deserves my time or energy? Most of the time, you'll find that fear has no foundation. It's a shadow, not a structure. Fear thrives on speculation, on what might happen, not what is happening. And its only fuel is your attention. The more you delay action, the more it grows. The more you avoid, the heavier it becomes. But something powerful happens the moment you move toward it. It begins to lose its form. It shrinks because fear cannot stand motion. It feeds on pause and dies in progress. So stop waiting for fear to leave. It won't vanish on its own. The mentally strong don't sit in stillness, hoping for perfect peace to arrive. They act anyway, despite shaking hands, pounding hearts, or uncertain minds. They walk onto stages while doubt whispers. They step into rooms even when insecurity tries to drag them back. Because courage isn't something you feel first. It's something you choose first. True courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep moving in its presence. It's taking the next step while your legs still tremble. It's speaking up when your voice wavers. It's building your future when the outcome is still unclear. Every time you move through fear, you're sending a clear signal to your mind. I am not ruled by emotion. I am led by intention. That's the path of mental strength. It's not about dodging fear. It's about navigating through it. It's about becoming familiar with discomfort. It's seeing fear not as a wall to avoid, but as a doorway to walk through. And what waits on the other side of fear? Peace, growth, influence, legacy. But you'll never experience any of them if you let fear set your pace. So today, name the fear. Write it down. Call out. Face it without flinching. Don't shrink. Don't stall. Don't replay failure in your mind. Instead, take a step. Speak the truth. Lead with courage. And watch how quickly fear loses its grip when you stop feeding it. Because once you train your mind to stop surrendering to fear, you'll stop living beneath your potential and begin stepping boldly into the strength that has always been yours. That shift alone can change everything. And now comes another truth the mentally strong understand. Rest is not weakness. It's a form of strategic power. Mental toughness isn't only about grinding harder. It's about guarding your energy like treasure. You're not a machine. You weren't designed to operate on empty, to overlook exhaustion, or to treat burnout like a badge of honor. Even warriors need rest. Even kings step back. Rest doesn't mean giving up. It means recharging. It isn't a sign of fragility. It's a sign of wisdom. In fact, Exodus 20 verse 8 reminds us to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. That wasn't just a religious ritual. It was a divine blueprint for sustainable resilience. God himself, after creating the universe, paused. He rested. If even the Creator embraced rest, why do we resist it? Why do we treat stillness as a setback instead of strategy? You train your mind by taking rest seriously, just as seriously as your ambition. Not just once a year, but regularly. Daily, weekly, rhythmically. Rest isn't something you earn. It's something you schedule. Take quiet walks that calm your nervous system. Disconnect from the constant noise. Step away from screens and distractions. Spend time alone, not to run from the mission, but to regain the clarity needed to lead it. You're not retreating. You're recharging. George Washington modeled this well. Amid the chaos of revolution, he wasn't only a man of action, he was a man of intention. He didn't just swing swords, he practiced silence. He knew when to advance and when to hold back. He managed not just his army, but his energy. That's why he didn't collapse halfway through history. He endured until the end. And because he understood pace, he found power. What about you? Are you running on fumes? Mistaking activity for strength? Filling your schedule, but emptying your soul? Remember, there is no prize for burnout. There is no crown for collapse. You weren't created to constantly do, hustle, and push without pause. You were designed to be present, to breathe deeply, and to build a life with purpose and intention. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a red flag. It's not proof that you worked hard. It's proof that your boundaries were missing. Mentally strong people don't just know how to go hard. They know when to stop, when to rest, and when to say not now. They guard their peace like a treasure chest because they understand that without peace, even progress feels empty. They've learned a crucial truth. Productivity without presence is just motion without meaning. Taking time to rest doesn't make you soft. It makes you sustainable. Rest refines your focus, sharpens your clarity, and restores your spirit. It brings you back to the battlefield not drained, but renewed. Because clarity is found in stillness, not in the noise. Power returns in the pause, not in the pressure. So pause, step back intentionally. Get quiet before the chaos demands it. Recharge not out of desperation, but out of discipline. Let it be a declaration that says, I honor my purpose too much to sabotage it through exhaustion. Then return, not with fragments, but with fire. With focus that slices through distraction like a blade. With a calm that no storm can rattle. Because a rested mind is a dangerous force. It sees what a rushed mind overlooks. It holds steady when a tired soul collapses. Mental strength isn't measured by how long you can grind without breaking. It's measured by how wisely you protect what fuels you. So guard your energy. Guard your peace. Respect the rhythm that true greatness demands. Because those who finish strong aren't always the fastest. They're the ones who know when to refuel, who recover without guilt, and rise again with eyes wide open and purpose anchored deep within. And in their bones, endurance. The quiet strength that keeps them standing when others fall. But if there's one thing that can silently dismantle this power, it's comparison. Comparison is the thief of clarity. It blinds you to your progress and robs you of your joy. It doesn't just distract you, it drains you. It whispers lies, subtle but sharp. You're too late. You're falling behind. Someone already did it better. And none of it is true. Comparison is a silent thief. It sneaks in unnoticed and begins to rob you of your joy, your focus, and your momentum. And the most dangerous part? You're often the one handing it the keys. Every time you scroll through social media, every time you measure your progress against someone else's timeline, every time you let their highlight reel become your ruler, you invite comparison to sabotage your purpose. But there's a higher way. In Galatians 6 verse 4, we're reminded to examine our own work and not compare ourselves to others. That isn't just advice, it's a pathway to freedom. Your true competition has never been your neighbor, your coworker, or the influencer with a bigger following or more accolades. Your only real opponent is who you were yesterday. That's the race that matters. That's the mirror you must face. That's the standard worth pursuing. You train your mind to grow stronger by replacing envy with gratitude. Each time you see someone else win, celebrate them. Say it out loud. Not as a cheap affirmation, but as a deep conviction. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. Their victory doesn't diminish yours. Their lane isn't your lane. Their moment doesn't threaten your mission. Then turn your eyes back to your own assignment. Refocus. Double down. Get to work. Because mental strength demands that you stop obsessing over what others are doing and start building what you were called to create. You cannot fulfill your mission if you're constantly fixated on someone else's map. You cannot cultivate your own garden while staring over the fence. Focus is your fuel, and every drop of energy you waste comparing is energy that could have been spent creating. So remember this, greatness is never about imitation. It is born from clarity, from purpose, from staying aligned with your unique calling. You weren't made to copy. You were crafted to contribute, to stand out, not blend in. You're not a clone. You are calling. Hand-selected, purposefully designed for something only you can fulfill. And once you embrace that truth, comparison loses its grip. Think about the legends, the greats who left lasting marks on history. They weren't watching the crowd, they were setting the pace. They didn't seek validation, they refined their craft. They didn't chase trends, they carved paths. They blocked out the noise, and because of that, they stood apart. So stay focused, celebrate others, cheer them on, but never lose sight of your own mission. Every minute you spend watching someone else succeed is a minute taken from building your own legacy. Let their progress inspire you, not intimidate you. Let it fuel you, not distract you. Your mind becomes stronger each time you return to your vision. Each time you transform envy into excellence. Each time you swap out distraction for discipline. That's how you rise, by focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't. So today, make a choice. Choose freedom. Freedom from comparison, from fake deadlines, from the pressure of feeling behind. You're not running late. You're in the process of becoming. And the truth is, no one else can do what you were created to do. No one can beat you at being you. So stay focused. Keep building. Rise higher. And always remember, when your mind is locked in on purpose, comparison completely loses its grip. You were born to lead, so start acting like it. Mental strength isn't just about you. It's about the people you're called to influence, to guide, to lift. Your discipline is creating a blueprint. Your mindset is shaping a model. Every time you control your thoughts, master your emotions, or chase a meaningful goal, you're quietly clearing a path for someone else to walk. Whether you realize it or not, someone is always watching. What you demonstrate will either lift others up or let them down. In Matthew 5, verse 14, it reminds us, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. That's not just poetic. That's a responsibility. You were made to blend in or barely get by. You were made to shine. And light doesn't whisper. Light leads. When your mind is trained, your very presence sets a new standard in every room you walk into. You begin to influence without saying a word. You inspire by example. You lead by energy. That's how transformation begins. So embrace the weight of responsibility. Don't hide. Don't shrink. And don't wait for someone else to take charge. You're not a background character in the story of your life. You're the lead. You're the one meant to carry the torch, whether at home, in your workplace, or within your community. Someone is watching how you carry yourself, how you respond under pressure, how you lead when it matters most. And leadership isn't defined by titles. It's defined by tone. It's not about demanding authority. It's about demonstrating consistency. People don't follow the loudest voice in the room. They follow the one who clears the path. And that clarity, it comes from mental strength. Choosing peace over panic, strategy over reaction, vision over validation. Think about Clara Barton, a nurse surrounded by the horror of war, chaos, blood, suffering. Yet she didn't crumble. She didn't ask for permission. She didn't wait for orders. She stepped into the fire and led. She organized relief, founded the American Red Cross, and saved countless lives. Not because she held a title, but because she moved with conviction. Her mind wasn't focused on fear. It was locked on duty. That's real leadership, and you must do the same. Stop underestimating your influence. You don't need a corner office or a corporate badge to be a leader. If you have a voice, you have power. If you have consistency, you have impact. Someone is paying attention to how you respond under stress, how you speak when you're tested, how you persist when it would be easier to quit. Your resilience might be someone else's permission to rise. Every decision you make sends ripples outward. The words you speak become part of someone else's internal dialogue. The standards you uphold help shape their own expectations. You're not just going through life, you're shaping a legacy. Mental strength isn't selfish. It's sacrificial, because when you grow stronger, you lift others higher. Led with excellence, not perfection, not a polished image, but with integrity and depth. Show up fully. Stay rooted. Be sharp. Be steady. Lead with peace. In a chaotic world, your calm becomes a beacon. Led with quiet power, not driven by ego, but by your example. The mentally strong don't wait for a crown. They lead as if they've already been chosen. They walk into rooms with presence. They carry themselves as solutions, not noise, and the world naturally follows. So today, step up. Speak with courage. Stay anchored, not only for the sake of your own future, but for those who walk in your shadow. You're a light in this world. Don't hide it. Direct it. Because when your mind is strong, your leadership becomes truly unstoppable.